following program on Ada Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations. The following program contains opinions of the participants and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network. The network believes in a safe space for all ideas to be expressed without any censorship and on its duty to create such a platform for free speech. Viewer discretion is strictly advised.
Welcome back everyone to another episode of Get Real. Tonight's conversation I want to revolve around tourism, which is a very important aspect towards the economy, and try to get you a different take on what's going on in the tourism industry. If you look at the numbers, seems very positive once again. But the thing is this, we have this trend of, it's becoming really good and suddenly, bam, everything is gone. This has been happening from 2019. 2019, I think around 2018 or 2017, we had one of the highest numbers of tourist arrivals in Sri Lanka. And then 2019, the Easter Sunday massacre occurred and then everything went down. 2020, COVID came. All this drama has been occurring into this industry, which has been a crucial component to our economy. So now tonight I want to engage in that particular side of the story. Now, since we are looking at positive numbers once again and tourism is picking up all around the country, a lot of people are coming into the country. A very seasoned a person who has been in the industry for quite some time, Mr. Hiran Cooray from Jetwing Hotels. He is a director of the entire chain, I believe. And thank you very much for coming and having a conversation with me.
Thank you for inviting me, Mahieash, and it's a pleasure to be here.
We've been trying to get you here, but you've been running around the country, I think, having a good time.
Loafing all over the place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you once again. I wanted to ask you, you are managing a chain of hotels which is very much, in the upper end of our tourism industry. But you have been in this industry for quite some time and you have a lot of experience. You've seen these trends going up, going down, going up, going down, and you have worked very closely with officials in order to bring some kind of, positive impact to this industry. So what I want to ask you is, when you're analyzing what's happening right now in terms of there's, good numbers are coming in, we see the same type of tourists coming back into the country. It seems positive. Is that the case?
Well, right now it is very positive. I mean, after, as you quite rightly said, we went through a terrible time from the Easter Sunday bombings up until last year, mid of last year. It was, quite terrible. And last 3-4 months of from about April last year, it was almost, we were not sure whether tourism will exist in this country. It came to that level of fear and anxiety and all of that. From there on, 12 months ahead, later, we are on a much better wicket. We see the trend that is coming. More tourists are booking Sri Lanka for their holidays. More airlines are coming in as well. Remember, we are an island state. So if there are no airlines coming, capacity will not. If the airline capacity does not increase, the numbers won't increase here. So all the major airlines, you name it, our own national carrier, Sri Lankan, they are looking at increasing their frequencies. Qatar Airways, Emirates, all the other Singapore Airlines, all will increase their frequencies to Colombo, which is very good news. That is good news. And there is hopefully a promotional campaign that will come in as well, for which we have been struggling for a long time to get it going. But be that as it may, the numbers are looking very good and we are positive.
So, like you said, just like right now, 2019 onwards, there have been being in the tourism industry, you thought that, whether tourism will exist as we move on. That is mainly because the pandemic taught us a lesson. Now, as a person who's been in the industry, let me ask you point blank, has the industry learned a lesson from COVID?
if you want an honest answer, no. The reason is Sri Lankan hospitality and the leisure industry, we lack confidence. That is because now our company is 50 years old. I am in the tourism industry for 36 years, right? And it's about time I get out of tourism because the youngsters must take over and, you know, the future is theirs. But what's happened is for the last at least 40 years, beginning 1983, we are on a roller coaster ride. We go up, down, up, down. So we don't have confidence to position Sri Lanka as a destination. We are blessed with one of the nicest islands in the world, believe me, right?
I do.
And we have, other than snow and serious mountains, we have everything else a tourist needs in a small, compact country. Now, we haven't projected that image. We failed to project that image to the world. And we are selling at the cheapest possible price. Sometimes I feel we are subsidizing the tourists who are coming here, right? Instead of subsidizing our own nationals, we are subsidizing the tourists because you take a train ride, right? You take a train ride from Kandy to Ella, which is one of the nicest train journeys in the world.
Absolutely.
How much do you pay? If you go first class, you are paying 2,500 rupees. Now that's subsidized by us, by our government, by our country, right? So therefore, we are subsidizing the tourists who are coming here, and they have a wonderful experience
for a very cheap price.
Yeah, for a very cheap price, right? So we are not projecting these things well, positioning them, and that will continue. Still, we are fighting to increase prices in Colombo, right?
I want to get deeper into that conversation about the prices and the structures and everything.
Okay.
Let me ask you about the fact that, you know, you point blank said no confidence, meaning that we don't know what we are selling. That kind of attitude is what exists in the industry. And if that is the case, I mean, let me tell you an example of what is our tagline. In terms of selling Sri Lanka, what are we selling? Because we've been changing this tagline quite some time and still we are not there. So what is the problem? What is the issue in terms of getting to one particular point that everybody agrees? I mean, look at Asia. Sorry, not Asia. Malaysia.
Truly Asia.
Yeah, that still. I mean, I've been hearing that for quite some time, and they have a very
India, incredible India.
Exactly. What is the problem with Sri Lanka? We can't get our act together.
Too many cooks, too many opinions, right? That is the issue, because, you know, if I come up with a tagline, you will not like it, right? If you come up with a tagline, I will not like it. But that's not how it should be, right? It should be one tagline for the country. Otherwise, forget the tagline. Because at the moment, we have another issue, Mahieash. Now, we are selling Ceylon tea. We are selling Ceylon cinnamon. We are selling Ceylon sapphires. Also, we are projecting Sri Lanka garments, Sri Lanka tourism, and Sri Lanka cricket. Right? These are also brands going out to the world. So people ask, what is the name of your country?
Exactly.
Right? So we have to first decide what we are going to promote. Are we promoting Sri Lanka or are we going back to Ceylon? That is number one. Then the tagline, as you rightly said, do we need a tagline? If we agree that we need a tagline, then decide on one, and there'll be, of course, the media will have one opinion, the industry will have another opinion. Doesn't matter. You stick to one tagline, whatever it is. Whether once you decide on a tagline, we had Small Miracle, we had
Miracle of Asia,
Miracle, all these things, you know.
The only miracle is that we can't come together.
Which is sad. So that's why I said we lack confidence to go out.
Who should decide that?
One person, either the minister, the president, the tourism industries, the 2 or 3 associations, or the promotions bureau.
And don't you think that they are infighting?
There is.
And isn't that the issue? Because apparently it looks like like you very eloquently said, too many cooks, and this having too many cooks, is this something that the government should come up with, or is it something that the industry should come up with?
together, right? Because there is an established platform where the private sector works quite well actually with the government, the Promotions Bureau, the Tourism Development Authority, and all these sectors and the ministry. We work closely. But the industry, you have to remember one thing, tourism is a fragmented industry.
Yeah.
The travel agents will have one interest. The hotelier will have another interest. The airline will have another interest. So it's not easy to get all together. But that is where we must put our thinking caps together for the sake of the country.
Exactly.
The country must come first, then your sector must come second.
How come Malaysia is getting it right and they are all agreeing on one thing, and then they are getting it, Singapore is the same, India is the same, Maldives is the same. These is literally countries around us.
Right.
Okay, so everybody can come together and decide on one thing and then they hammer it out. What are we not learning from them?
So I have been involved with Pacific Asia Travel Association, so I'm quite aware of how these things happen. Now in Malaysia, when Dr. Mahathir Mohamad was the Prime Minister of Malaysia, he just said, I want tourism to be the second largest foreign exchange earner, and he drove it, right? And once he and the cabinet subcommittee with the private sector decided, it stayed. And it's still there.
Yeah.
Right now, maybe 20 years or more,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Similarly, India, the Secretary of Tourism at that time, Amitabh Kant, he is the one who carried the Incredible India campaign to the tourism minister. Tourism minister nodded his head. Tourism minister didn't even sign on the document. The nod, Amitabh took it as confirmation, and that's where Incredible India is, right? So now in our case, we, the industry, together with the tourism board, must get together and come up with these slogans. Either the minister or the prime minister or the president
Welcome back everyone to Get Real. Mr. Hiran Cooray from Jetwing Hotels is here. We've been having a conversation about the tourism industry and why we can't get our act together and pitch something very valuable which we already have. It seems like the tourism industry is currently like the Sri Lankan cricket team.
I think it's better than that.
Anyway, let me ask you, has the tourism industry or the government, the ministry or anybody has actually, arrived in Sri Lanka as a tourist and looked into what kind of services we provide? I'm giving you a simple example. Now you get a connecting flight from Dubai. Let's say you're a visitor from Europe. You come through Dubai. Perfect airport, every service is there. You're getting that experience. Now you're at a very high. You're going for a holiday in Sri Lanka. You have expectations because you have seen online beautiful pictures, this and that. You're looking for this, and then you come and then you get down, and then you have this experience of going through immigration, and then you're coming in to get your baggage, which is a kind of a letdown, that entire area. But then you somehow make yourself to outside. Then the problem starts. It doesn't look like, if you have already arranged it, but there's no system to provide taxis properly. There's so much of haggle going on. A lot of people are coming up and asking you unwanted questions where you just want, your privacy. And then you come out, even chaos. There's not exactly a proper, and then you get, how are you getting to your location? Maybe it's down south. Oh, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Oh my God, another travel. That kind of this thing. Has any one of y'all have mapped out? Oh, okay, we are coming from here. We are getting into it, because that has been provided during the break where you mentioned Thailand. You can get into the the railway, it's all provided. You can come as a person who has never visited Thailand and actually have an experience that is very much fulfilling. Same thing in Bali. You come out and they have that kind of system in place. Why not us?
I think that's of course is due to political involvement. Because there are so many cronies who are operating there. It's very difficult to break it now. I think there is some improvement as you get down from the aircraft. At least there is now a separate line for foreigners, separate line for nationals, which is somewhat working at the immigration counters, and it moves reasonably fast. I came about a week ago and I experienced that, so I was happy with that. The rest, as you described, is what's happening. There should be definitely a taxi line where you just go out, you get into a taxi and say, look, take me to ABC destination. That's it. Now here people are like vultures trying to grab you. That is a poor experience. So I hope, soon that that will be rectified. And even some of the facilities like toilet cleanliness and things like that also needs improvement, all that. So all those, matters. And the time you take to get out of the airport from the time you land. Now Singapore works on a 12-minute cycle, right? A guest shouldn't be there for more than, within 12 minutes, he should clear immigration, should clear the baggage, everything, customs and out. Seamless line, right? So those are the efficiencies that we should work on. So I agree. So far we have failed to deliver that.
And when you come into the country, there is no, the amount of, I don't know whether these are things that we have to keep talking about because it's not developed yet. The whole experience in the airport is not exactly...
That should be the best experience because that's the first impression. Actually, no. The first impression is the airline. After the airline is the airport, right? So the airport experience, arrival experience has to be so good.
How vital is that to the industry?
Well, so far, because we have been generating most of our arrivals through the tour operator network, still at least 60 to 70% of the business comes through the tour operator arranged tour business, right? So therefore, the arrival is kind of sorted out by the travel agencies and the hotel companies that have their counters. They are met at the airport and taken out through the rear door. But for the independent traveler is what you're discussing now. So 30% of the travelers now come independently, and the likelihood of that increasing is more. So that is
because
where
of the internet.
Yes, that is where we have to get really up to, okay, our goal should be to reach Singapore standard. That will take some time, but at least sort out with, let's settle with Thailand standards for the moment, and then keep moving upwards and benchmark Singapore.
Malaysia, which is Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Bangkok. If you take here, even to a certain extent, Mali, and then up there you take New Delhi, and then the certain other ones. All those airports are very high in standards. What happened to our project of getting our airport up to date?
I think there is a construction going on now. There is development going on. I mean, I see that happening. So I'm sure there is a plan to upgrade the product itself. But the product plus the services, product has to be complemented with the service we offer the customer. So the product improvement can happen because you are breaking a wall and building a new wall. Whereas the service improvement is with human to human. And that is where the tough situation is. So that someone strong has to get involved and clear that. COVID
along with this economic crisis, which we saw a lot of good human resourced individuals who has the capacity, who has the ability, running into countries like Dubai, Qatar, into those hotels. How are we going to get that back? Because one of the biggest issue that we have is the service quality, which you just said, not just in the airport
only. Correct, I agree.
Even in the
hotels
from
also.
A bus boy to a room attendant to the receptionist to even the manager, the all that. How are we going to listen? Because we know we have a school to train them, but they're not trained to the quality that is expected by these tourists who have been, very experienced travelers in the region.
Our training school is quite good. Slidham is run well now, and it's producing children who are coming out of it. But some of them also want to go to Dubai and places. Be that as it may, my worry more is those who migrate lock, stock and barrel. The children who go to Dubai or Qatar, they come back. They'll be there for 2-3 years and come back. But the guys who completely migrate, we lost them. So
is that an increase now?
There was a big increase, but now the numbers have, now it's settled. I think it's a shame to see so many of our youth.
Isn't that because they thought that there is no hope in the hotel industry here?
Not necessarily the hotel industry. They thought there is no future in Sri Lanka. I think the future in Sri Lanka is them.
Yeah, and they're running.
Yes, the youngsters should be in Sri Lanka, developing Sri Lanka. This is their motherland.
Yeah, but that's the thing. How are we going to
We need to educate them, right? Running away is not the solution. Running away is a quick fix, and you're becoming pretty much, I'm sorry to say, a slave in a foreign country, right?
Of course.
Right?
Whereas, you know this very well.
Yeah. You stay in your country. Yes, we are struggling, right? There is a little bit of hardship at the moment. We all agree that there is a bit of hardship now. But if we work together, then we come out of it. And that's where the people will, those who are gone will come, and the ones who stay will have pride that we work and we fix the country. And that's something that I think Sri Lanka is missing, not just in the tourism industry, but the whole entire country. Because inspiring leaders are yet to be found in Sri Lanka, sad to say, because Malaysia has Mahathir Mohamad, Singapore had Lee Kuan Yew, India had a plethora of leaders who inspired, and even right now the current Prime Minister is very much inspiring the nationalism in there. Here and all, when we talk about nationalism, everybody is like, that is such a allergic thing to talk about. And that is sad to see.
Let's talk about the other areas in the entire industry. These the little boutique hotels which are popping up. One thing before that I wanted to ask you is, now let's say a new traveler, let's say in Europe.
Somebody is coming for the first time.
She will go into the whole web and try to look into it, and they will go to certain certified websites in order to get, because they trust those websites. They think, if the rating is right, we will definitely get that. How much are we working in unison with these kinds of international websites and all, in order to make sure that they know what is here? Like, if I actually look at the hotels like TripAdvisor or any kind of other site, you give the basic hotels that you have in Colombo, but you don't find the new gems which are around the country, scattered around the country, which actually has a tremendous amount of experience. Just like you said, the high spenders, this thing. Are we actually working quite close with these guys?
I think so. Most of us in the industry are working closely with. I mean, for some people, TripAdvisor is like the Bible. I mean, they refer to it all the time, right? And so therefore. And what I like about TripAdvisor and some of these sites is you have a right of reply as a service provider, right? So that there is feedback as well.
Is that vital?
That's vital, because otherwise you can write, if you don't like me, you can write something bad about me on that site.
Yeah.
If I don't have a right of reply, your word is the truth, right? So if I tell you sorry, it's not the case, then the person who's reading it will see, okay, you have accused me, I have given my response, and then you'll make your own judgment, right?
But there is a little bit of arrogance, isn't it?
Of course.
Because what I've seen, like in Sri Lanka, where when you see those kinds of things, either you scream at the tourist, or you're not understanding of what they're trying to be. Politeness actually goes a long way. That kind of this thing. So how are we?
If there is a person who's screaming at the tourist or the customer, because it's not only the tourists, it's the Sri Lankan customers as well. Jetwing's business, 25% is Sri Lankan business. So our number one customer base is our own people, and then the foreigners. So therefore, if you scream at the customer, then you shouldn't be in the service sector, right? Yeah. You should be doing something else, because when you're in the service industry, customer is king. Whether you like the customer or not, customer comes first. And in order to look after your customer, you have to look after your people who are serving them, right? So if that balance is not there, those guys should get out of that service industry and do something else.
Are you happy with the amount of remuneration and also other kinds of facilities that that the people who are working in the tourism industry is getting right now? Because what most of them tell is, if I go to Dubai, I can get this much. If I go to this place, I can get a huge amount. I'm like slaving here, but this thing. Yeah. Is that the case?
I think that's a fair comment. That's a fair comment, because that's somewhat true. That's somewhat true, right? I can't say no to that. The answer, there is no immediate solution, because as a hotel owner operator, I can tell you, we are not making ends meet at the moment, right? We are struggling. Bank interests have gone up, cost of operations have gone up, everything has gone up, and the poor associates are also not getting what they should get. Maybe not as much as what they'll get in Dubai, but come close to that. So our aim as a company is to make sure that we keep going up, right?
Are we going up?
It's difficult to go up because of the low prices we are selling.
And that is another thing. Now,
it's like if you are getting $60 for a room in Colombo, how can you pay in similar price that somebody in Dubai is getting? Dubai for a similar hotel.
Why is that?
Going back to what I said, no confidence to promote at a higher price. No confidence to sell the...
I thought the rates of hotel rooms are decided by the government, isn't it?
No. It is we in the hospitality sector that went and asked the government to implement this minimum room rate for a short period of time to increase the prices. Colombo was selling for $60 sometimes bed and breakfast. Sometimes if you push the hotel, you might get half board. That is breakfast and dinner included for 2 people. Where on earth can you get such quality accommodation for that price? That was embarrassingly low. So we went to the government, to the tourist board, to our minister and said, please implement this, because the industry couldn't come together and agree that we should, ideally, government should not get
What is the
involved.
ideal price for Colombo?
Oh, it should be $150, $200 for a good 5-star hotel, right?
So the rating matters.
Rating matters. Rating matters.
And do we have that kind of rated
yes,
hotel?
of course. Shangri-La.
I mean, like, I'm talking about, you have it in paper,
yes.
but when you go there, you might actually not have that
I must say the Shangri-La is a top class hotel.
Yeah, the Shangri-La, definitely.
Yes, the Cinnamon Grand, right? The Hilton Colombo. These are the Golf Face, which is the iconic landmark, right? The Taj Samudra. These are top quality hotels. We have our own Jetwing Colombo 7. We were, even though it's rated 4-star, we were sometimes selling at the same price as the 5 stars, right?
Indeed. Let's take a short commercial break. I'm in conversation with Mr. Hiran Cooray from Jetwing Hotels. We've been talking about issues in terms of the tourism industry and how we can, fix it and get the best out of that industry to our country's economy, as we are absolutely struggling economically. Let's take a short commercial break. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone, to Get Real. I'm in conversation with Mr. Hiran Cooray from Jetwing Hotels. We're running out of time, Mr. Cooray, but you've been, like you said, 30 years of experience in the industry, and you have been in the management sector, and you've been taking decisions in this industry as well, talking with government officials, pushing policy and all that. Let me ask you, in your opinion, Sri Lanka is now again getting a real golden opportunity to fix issues, which apparently I don't think the people are realizing it yet. The tourism industry is also getting that opportunity. COVID kind of stopped us, dented us. Now the economic crisis, now we can start again and start with, not with the same mistakes we did, but start anew. So in your opinion, the first 3 things the industry needs to do in order to get it to the optimized level and then start competing with the region?
Well, first and foremost, we must try to promote the destination Sri Lanka. Whether we are a travel agent, hotelier, airline, whatever, we must come together, support the government's efforts and get it going, right? Leave the personalities and the personal interests aside. Country must come first and get the highest possible price for the destination and market it, position it. Number 2 is manage some of our iconic sites. With the numbers coming in, my fear sometimes is that these will be over-visited, right? We have to protect...
Example?
Sigiriya, Yala,
we are hacking.
Kandim, yeah. We need to spread the tourism to other areas.
So what are the areas that's not getting...
Well, the East Coast, for example, is,
surfing.
It's only surfing, right? But surfing happens only for 3 months of the year. Yeah. The rest of the time, the East Coast is as fabulous as ever. Right, there are much more activities than just surfing. There is wildlife, there is culture, there is nature walks, you name it, there is in the East. And it's not, people just talk of surfing, that's it, right? So you need to spread the tourist all over the place.
And we are not also talking about North, Jaffna.
North is doing very well. We were the first to build a hotel in Jaffna, Jetwing Jaffna. In 2014, we started construction, right? Finally, the hotel is doing well. Finally, hotel is doing well. It struggled at the start, but I mean, Jaffna is a gem. Jaffna has all the, architecture, different food, lovely people, wonderful people, landscape is different, there is water. That's another story altogether, the north of Sri Lanka. That's not promoted enough. I agree with you. So that's number 2 to me, that, we have to protect our iconic sites for not yours and my generations, more generations to come, right? Because if we kill that, then that's gone. And those are things. And number 3 is stop haphazard building. Haphazard building can ruin the destination. Already there are many, cities, Colombo, Kandy, Jaffna, in the city you can have high rises, whatever. You have to go vertical, you can't go horizontal in the cities, but not on the beaches. Beaches, if you do that, you're going to ruin it, right? And again,
are you ruining it?
Well, there are 1 or 2 things that have come up. We have to, now that's built, you can't break it, right? But at least prevent for the future.
In terms of what kind of message can you give the government, and not per se to the minister, and because they keep changing, and we don't know their shelf life, but the authorities there, the tourism industry is there. What can you say to
government is important. Now, at the moment, the president is very focused. From what I know, the current president is very focused on tourism, and he is driving it together with the minister and the authorities. Now he also has set up a kind of a secretarial committee, right, which his secretary heads, which is very important, because tourism is not only the subject for the tourism minister. There are at least 20 ministries that plays a role in tourism. You name it, health, defense, highways, environment, culture, so many to name. They all play a role in tourism. So they all must feel that they are contributing as well. So now, to a certain extent, it's happening, and this should happen irrespective of who the president or the prime minister of the country or the minister, as you say rightly. People come and go, but this country must go on. So those committees, headed by either the tourism minister or the president's secretary, must continue, whoever who comes into power and position, so that country again comes first, and focus is the country.
I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of people do not think in that line, that country needs to come first. And if we learn from all those countries that actually is doing well, Singapore, Malaysia, India, they put country first, and that's why they're basically harnessing the benefit of it. Mr. Hiran Cooray, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
For coming and having this conversation and being very candid with me. Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again on Sunday on State of the Nation. See you then. Bye.